Since the time she was married to me, she's had blackout on a couple of occasions.
Correct.
Most of the females believe salt creates water retention. That's where your face gets puffy.
Correct.
That was one reason why Sri used to avoid salt. When she passed away, Nagarjuna had come home and he told me that again was on a crash diet and how she fell in the bathroom.
The uncharitable remarks and the disturbing accusations which you had to put up with, which are disturbing for any husband.
Since I got married to her and I knew that she has this tendency of going on a strict diet where she gives up, so I used to push my doctor to tell her she must have some salt.
फर्ज जो था एक भाई की भी हैसियत से निभाया, अपने पिता के लिए वो करियर रखा, अपने बेटे के लिए रखा, अपनी बेटियों के लिए आपने रखा कि आपने प्यार जरूर दिया, अफेक्शन दिया उन लोगों को, पर वो प्यार आपको इन सबसे भी मिला क्यों?
मेरी जब पिक्चर बहुत साथ दिन लगी थी, I had walked up Vaishno Devi only to pray God give me these status. Unfortunate that she had to go so soon. And I needed her the most when I wanted her to see the success of her daughters. I wanted her to see that how I have done the regional film, because it was her idea, her dream that I should be doing regional films. A caring, loving father to my children, Arjun, Anshula, Janvi, Khushi. In fact, even with Mona, I was absolutely honest. My wife isn't there to enjoy this. In fact, इसीलिए ये तस्वीर मुझे लगता है जीती जागती श्री इधर तो देख रही है.
थोड़े आंसू तो थोड़ी हंसी, आज गम है तो कल है खुशी. It's with these powerful lines and the kaleidoscope of mesmerizing memories of a young couple who went on to conquer the hearts of the Hindi heartland in the Hindi film industry. If one was a young girl, Sri Devi from Tamil Nadu, the other was a young boy who wanted desperately to conquer the hearts, but also establish his own family by carrying on the legacy of his own father. This man today may have worked behind the scenes and may have made a few and far between appearances, but he remains a solid family man, a doting father to 4 young kids who have also carved their own niche in the industry. It's this man who will be appearing on our show who wants to tell the incredible memories that he has of his own life and also his family, what shaped up the incredible career from one of the fascinating films, Mr. India, Wo Saat Din, to till date when he will be releasing one of the most keenly awaited films, Maidan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Boney Kapoor. It's a pleasure having you on this show for multiple reasons, beginning with the similar fact which I mentioned in my intro as well, the fact that you are a powerful family man who selflessly, modestly, with all humility of an incredible talent that you are, remain firm on establishing selflessly, like I said, the careers of many, many people who are close to you, including your wife and your brother. What does this career mean to you today, and how gratified and satisfied you feel today?
Well, to begin with, I'm not a powerful family man. I'm just a simple family man. A caring, loving son, caring, loving brother, a caring, loving, I was husband to my wife, a caring, loving father to my children, Arjun, Anshula, Janvi, Khushi. In fact, even with Mona, I was absolutely honest. So the best way to describe me would be a simple, honest man who's been sincere to all the people around him, starting from the family members to his friends, to his profession. So I'm all about sincerity and honesty. I feel I'm blessed to get this opportunity to do all what I could do, and it couldn't have been possible without my family members. Whether it was my father, then it was Anil, Sanjay, then my son Arjun, my daughters Anshula, Janvi, Khushi,
Ji.
my ex-wife Mona, and my wife Sri Devi. She was my strength. She was my lifeline. And she remains in my thoughts all the time. She remains in my mind all the time. It is unfortunate that she had to go so soon. And I needed her the most when I wanted her to see the success of her daughters. I wanted her to see that how I've done the regional film because it was her idea, her dream that I should be doing regional films.
Ji.
So in the past 4 years, I've completed, produced, and released 6 regional films, 5 in Tamil and 1 in Telugu.
Ji.
So these thoughts were put into my mind by my wife. She was very keen that I do regional cinema too. Somewhere, I wish she was there to see that I'm trying to fulfill all her dreams. And I will continue to fulfill all her dreams.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we want you to continue those dreams because for all of us young Indians who were introduced to the culture of the first sci-fi film that you brought on the silver screen, that was Mr. India, that was also the first of its kind where young kids wanted to enter into the industry of science and tech when they were passing out of school and colleges as well. Which is why one of my next questions is related to what prompted you to derive the idea from wherever you did to make this film and produce this film, Mr. India?
It was never my idea. The script was initiated by Salim Javed, and when they parted, unfortunately, they divided the scripts among themselves,
Ji.
and Mr. India came to Javed Saab. Initially, me and Javed Saab were to produce this film with Ramesh Sippy as the director and Amitabh Bachchan as the actor. Somehow the things didn't work out. And it was there in my mind while we were working on another subject with Anil as a hero and Sri as a heroine. We sort of thought of many subjects. But finally, it just came around to the fact that Mr. India was stuck in my mind. And Javed Saab told me, Boney, it's going to be too expensive a film. GPCP didn't want to do this film only because this would be an exorbitantly expensive film because it involved a lot of special effects.
Ji.
Perhaps at that point of time, since they had worked with foreign technicians,
Right.
they thought even this would require foreign technicians and major special effects would have to be done overseas.
Right.
But somehow, me and my team, thanks to my team, Javed Saab, Shekhar Kapoor, Satish Kaushik, and my brother, of course, Sri, of course. I mean, we worked as a very close-knit unit, and somehow, I had made up my mind there will not be any post in the film. Everything will be shot in camera. So we had a complete R&D department who used to think of ways of shooting a particular special effects sequence, like the Hanuman scene,
Right.
the dining table carried out scene,
Right.
the interval sequence where the gun comes out,
Right.
the introduction of Mr. India where how he's walking and you can only see the footprints.
Correct.
So all these were thought ingeniously, and they were all shot in camera.
Right.
The cinematographer of the film was Baba Azmi, but the special effects cameraman was Peter Pereira,
Right.
who was an assistant to Babubhai Misri, and he was quite used to shooting these films which required special effects.
Right.
So most of the wires which were there to hang a gun or the idol of Hanumanji or various things which were used. So there used to be a wire which used to light it in such a way,
Ji.
was darkened it with black polish or black this thing, and then light it up in such a way that the wire will not see.
Right.
So this was his USP. Then we had Viru Devan, who was our action director. For this film, more than the action, he facilitated the special effects.
Right.
The entire Hanuman sequence, the credit goes to Viru Devan,
Right.
the execution part of it.
Right.
And he encouraged us to have the sequence done elaborately. So it was a good teamwork which probably, came about in a way and made this film Mr. India. Today, when I look back, I feel, we really must have put in our heads very passionately, very diligently to see that we get all what we wanted on screen
Correct.
without going to post.
Right.
So I'm glad we started this trend of sci-fi films. At that point of time, I never thought it will be a sci-fi film. For me, it was just I'd seen some English films like Blackbeard's Ghost, An Invisible Man.
Right.
So those films had fascinated me as a child too. So here I was getting an opportunity to do a film on the similar lines.
Right.
So I did my best. A producer's job is to see that he gives all the facilities to the crew.
Correct.
Be it the art director Bijon Das Gupta, be it the cameraman Baba Azmi and Peter Pereira,
Right.
be it the action choreographer, which was Viru Devgan,
Correct.
and the R&D team. Arun Patel was there. He had a team of several people who used to think how to go about
Right.
putting up things. Like, for instance, when Mr. India comes to the editor's office,
Right.
and the sequence where the coke is being, it was all these things were thought much in advance, rehearsed, and then shot.
Right.
How the chair that he sits, how the cushion sinks in.
Right.
So, and the footsteps of Mr. India when he walks into this, after this Hawa Vai song, the introduction of Mr. India.
Correct.
We had made the set on a platform and we had the footprints carved out.
Right.
So as a man would walk,
Right.
the person below was pulling the steps which were marked out.
Lovely.
And of course, we had this
How did the cushion scene happen?
cushion thing. We had,
Someone.
someone sitting down below the chair. The chair was kept again on a platform.
Right.
And so there were strings attached below.
Right.
And they were attached to, it was a concussion where it had to be just pulled to give an impression that somebody sat on the seat.
Right.
So all these things were new. There were a lot of experiments. In fact, for the Kate Re Karte song, and we had 3 sets done for that song. We had, originally the song was supposed to be solo, 3 songs singing with Mr. India.
Right.
But the song was so appealing that Anil said, even I want to be in the song.
Right.
So again, we all had to put our minds together and put a gazebo which had red windows.
Correct.
And if you recall, we had this thought that Mr. India can be seen in red light.
Right.
So that is how Anil was seen in that song.
Right.
And it worked out well. He was happy. The song came out well. It became a iconic song. Till today, people, that's a benchmark of a song which is sensual without any skin show.
Absolutely.
And Saroj excelled. Sri was absolutely magnificent. Shekhar gave he took it as a challenge. He had several costumes made for that song.
Right.
But somehow, I had seen Javas of Feroz Khan where Sri had done a song only in a plain chiffon sari.
Right.
I told Shekhar in that film, she comes across so sensuously without. He took it up as a challenge.
Ji.
And he's the one who thought, okay, cancel all the other costumes. We will have Sri in a chiffon sari, and I will make sure that she's far more sensual than what she was in
Correct.
Jabaz without showing any skin, without any skin show.
Right.
It will be just romance and passion,
Right.
nothing else.
Right.
And imagine, Sri singing a song with all her love and passion to Invisible Man.
Correct.
The man was only seen when we wanted to show him
Correct.
from the red glass.
Right.
So we took about 18, 19 days to shoot that song. And thankfully it came out well. And later there were many copies of that kind of situation, that kind of song where heroines were in chiffon saris.
Correct.
And then there was we had this wind machine. We had wind machine there blowing, we had haystacks there, and all those things.
Correct.
We just added the look of the song to make it a lot more sensuous and effective.
Absolutely. One of the key questions which I asked in the beginning when I started this interview was that the incredible success of Mr. India. Before that, your eyes turned moistened, recalling the memories that you had with Sri Devi, who you fondly remembered today as Jan, and who you fondly used to call as Jan. Why I'm asking this question is because for me as a journalist, it's very disturbing to see someone like you who honestly burnt the proverbial midnight oil to build the career of a younger brother, to stand besides the four kids and give them full support. And yet, receiving the merit badge on that unfortunate day, when you had to not only bring remarks and the disturbing accusations which you had to put up with, which are disturbing for any husband, where you were being accused of killing her. They were in very poor state, if I may say, because when I had the privilege to go through the investigative files, I came to the conclusion that the forensic reports and also certain other evidence pointed only towards a natural death, which took only because of drowning. So I fail to understand why those accusations were made to you and how disturbed you felt after those accusations, which were random and coming from nowhere without even having spoken to the police.
Well, first of all, it was not a natural death, it was an accidental death.
Right.
And I've decided not to speak about it because I spoke about it for almost 24 or 48 hours together when I was being investigated, interrogated. And that is how I got a clean sheet from the Dubai police. In fact, the officers said that we had to do this, we had to go through this because there was a lot of
Pressure from media.
pressure from Indian media. So I said, well, I have nothing more to say than what I've been saying. And they discovered there was no foul play. I went through all the tests or whatever interrogation they had, including lie detector and all those things. And then, of course, the forensic report which came, which clearly stated it was accidental death by drowning. And Sri, you see, our family physician always used to tell Sri whenever you died, because she used to start a new film.
Correct.
And
she often used to star.
She used to want to look good because the the fact is, what you are in real life, on screen, especially with CinemaScope, you look broader and bigger. But she wanted to make sure that she's in good shape so that on screen also she looks. And this is not just for this film that she was to star. It was right from the beginning. For Lami also, she had come down to 46 or 47 kgs.
Right.
And if you see English also, that time also.
Absolutely.
And, since the time she was married to me, she's had blackout on a couple of occasions.
Correct.
And the doctor kept on telling her, you have a low BP issue. So don't get into this severe diet where you avoid avoid salt. Because it is believed that most of the females believe salt creates water retention. That's where your face gets puffy.
Correct.
And that was one reason why Sri used to avoid salt. He used to tell her, even if you're having salad, sprinkle some salt on it.
Right.
Our family physician, Dr. Agarwal. So, you see, it was unfortunate later when she passed away, Nagarjuna had come home to pay to offer his condolences. And he told me that during one of his shootings, she again was on a crash diet and how she fell in the bathroom and she had broken her. I knew she had broken and she had those artificial casts. Even during one of Pankaj Parash's film, which was not completed, there too she had this similar. Of course, about the Pankaj Parasha thing, I knew.
Ji.
What Nag mentioned to me, I was not aware of.
Ji.
And it was not something which I would have asked Sri because, I had no information of it, so I will obviously not ask. But since I had got married to her and I knew that she has this tendency of going on a strict diet where she gave up, so I used to push my doctor to tell her she must have some salt. I used to push her myself. When we used to go out for dinner, she used to say, soup with no salt, food with no salt.
Right.
So unfortunately, she didn't take this seriously, and we also thought that maybe it can't be this serious till the incident happened.
Right.
And in fact, whoever I meet, whenever I meet some friends, their wives or this thing, I tell them, if you're on a diet, make sure that you maintain the necessities to keep your BP normal, to keep basically it's in your hands how you maintain your health.
Right.
So don't do anything, don't go in extremes. Don't do anything in extremes.
Right.
Even if you're dieting, don't go to that extreme where you give up on things which are necessary for your body.
कि आपने प्यार जरूर दिया, अफेक्शन दिया उन लोगों को, पर वो प्यार आपको इन सबसे भी मिला क्या?
See, I don't believe in barters. और ऐसा कुछ कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन नहीं कि मुझे प्यार नहीं मिला। अगर प्यार नहीं होता तो ये इट हैज गॉट टू बी दो तरफा रिलेशन।
इट्स नॉट अ वन वे कल्टी सैक स्ट्रीट, इट्स नॉट अ कल्टी सैक कि आप सिंगल स्ट्रीट पर चले।
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं। मुझे आई गॉट इमेंस लव एंड
for these people who have counted,
yes, I would say that. I will not. I am
single out anyone.
No, anyone. At the same time, I'm not the only reason why they are successful. I may have contributed 1%, but I would do that for, I am that kind of a person that tomorrow, if you have a problem, like there are a few friends of mine who मेरी जब पिक्चर नोवेल्टी लगी थी रिलीज टाइम पे कोई प्रॉब्लम चल रहा था
जी,
तो एक पिक्चर थी कैरी ग्रांट की, कौन सी पिक्चर थी, इट्स अ वंडरफुल लाइफ
जी,
तो उसने मुझे बोला अभी ये वीडियो देखो, ये आपकी लाइफ स्टोरी है। तो मैंने देखी पिक्चर तो मैं हंसा उस पर। मैंने कहा क्यों, तुझे क्या लगता है कि मतलब एक मैं ही इधर हूँ जो मतलब इतना बड़े दिल वाला है और सब कुछ कर रहा है। मैंने ये सोच के कभी कुछ नहीं किया। मैंने हर वो चीज की है जो मुझे ठीक लगती थी। मुझे आई थॉट इट वाज माय जॉब, आई थॉट इट वाज माय ड्यूटी एंड आई डिड दैट। आई एम थिंकिंग दैट आई एम डूइंग फॉर माय ओन सेल्फ।
राइट।
If I guided Anil, it was not just for him, it was for us. If I guided Sri, it was not just for her, it was for us. If I guide my children today, whether it's Arjun or Janvi or Anshala, or as a matter of Sanjay, whatever guidance they need, whatever my experience can give them, it is not out of doing a. I feel it is just there. I mean, why should they use my experience? Why should they seek advice from me?
जी,
And at the same time, I don't consider this a big deal कि मैंने ये कर लिया वो कर लिया। मैंने कुछ नहीं किया। देखो सेंटर फॉरवर्ड तो वही है ना। मैं पीछे से पास कैसे भी तो सेंटर फॉरवर्ड गोल नहीं कर पाएगा तो गोल थोड़ी होगा।
जी,
तो I'm a बैकग्राउंड प्लेयर। तो मैं पास दे सकता हूँ, गोल तो उनको ही मारना है ना।
जी, जी,
समझ रहे हो?
बिल्कुल। अगर मैं ग्रॉसर की बात करूं तो है कौन सी वैसे सच्चाई में अगर हम माने तो?
See, the biggest grosser definitely ये तीन पिक्चरें हैं, बट रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट के हिसाब से जुदाई, सिर्फ तुम, वो 7 दिन, हम 5, ये सब पिक्चरें रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट के हिसाब से। हम 5 पूरी 11 लाख रुपए के कैश फ्लो में बनाई थी पिक्चर मैंने। वो 7 दिन पूरी मैंने बनाई थी 21 लाख के कैश फ्लो में। ये सब पिक्चरें चली एंड दे गेव मी प्रॉफिट। जैसे हम 5 पे हमने अपना घर खरीद लिया था, पहला घर जो खरीदा हम लोग किराए पे रहते थे। वो 7 दिन में मेरी सिस्टर की शादी हुई। तो ये हर
वांटेड आते क्या हुआ?
वांटेड आते हैं मतलब नहीं, मिस्टर इंडिया के लगने के बाद हमने अपना जो पहला बंगला लिया था मिस्टर इंडिया के बाद लिया था।
करेक्ट।
तो हर पिक्चर में कुछ ना कुछ ग्रोथ होती रही।
राइट।
और आज मैं इधर आपके सामने बैठा हूँ,
बड़ा खूबसूरत बंगला आपका है।
और अनफॉर्चुनेटली माय वाइफ इजंट देयर टू एंजॉय दिस। इनफैक्ट इसीलिए ये तस्वीर मुझे लगता है जीती जागती श्री इधर हमको देख रही है।
जी,
and she's happy looking at us कि I'm taking care of her children and I'm somewhere fulfilling her mission.
बिल्कुल, बड़ी खूबसूरत आंखें हैं। अगर मैं उन्हीं की स्टेट की बात करूं, तमिलनाडु की, तो आपका एक बड़ा प्यार और रिलेशन बिल्ड हो गया है। मैं अपनी फ्लाइट जा रहा हूँ चेन्नई में, आपने काफी समय भी गुजारा है। मुझे लगता है if I may ask you this question, which may be a private question, that you also have a place there which belongs to Miss Sri Devi. Is it something which is very close to your heart because
Yes,
it belongs to her?
it belongs to her, and I've rented it the full house to seduce my children to come to Chennai more often and stay there. Of course, I go and stay there for the first, when she passed away and a year before that, children were not keen on traveling to Chennai because they didn't have friends there, they had grown up. So it was not used extensively. Only the living room down was used and our bedroom was used. The rest of the rooms were just locked. So कमरे बंद रहते हैं, बारिश होती है, उससे पूरा मॉइस्चर हो जाता है, सब कुछ हो जाता है। तो I had to, the entire house was redone.
Right.
Thankfully, the ground floor had nothing much to do.
Right.
But the first floor and the guest block, we have a guest block over there. अब मेरे जो क्लोज फ्रेंड आते हैं, गेस्ट ब्लॉक जो बनाया था उस वक्त श्री ने और हमने मिल के बनाया था, पूरा इंटीरियर किया था। ये था कि ये रूम अनिल का होगा, ये रूम संजय का होगा, ये मेरी सिस्टर का होगा, ये मेरे पेरेंट्स का होगा। ऐसे करके हमने 4 गेस्ट रूम बनाए थे।
ठीक है।
अनिल के लिए ये, संजय के लिए ये, एक सिस्टर के लिए और मेरे पेरेंट्स के लिए।
अभी भी है वो बरकरार?
बस गेस्ट रूम तो हैं
जी।
और अभी क्योंकि पेरेंट्स आ नहीं सकते,
करेक्ट।
माय फादर इज नॉट देयर, तो अभी दोनों खुशी और जानवी का ही कमरा था, अभी दोनों को अलग अलग कमरा कर दिया। ये कुछ चेंजेस किए हैं,
करेक्ट।
बट ऑफ कोर्स व्हेन आई गो देयर आई फील आई एम लिविंग विद हर। I have fond memories of time spent with her there. Even before marriage, when I was courting her, मैं कहाँ बैठता था और कैसे मैं देखता था उसको, कैसे
बरकरार है।
वो जगह तो मैंने चेंज कर दी है,
जी।
बट वो घर में उसका the vibes are there.
Correct. And
Yes.
you kept those beliefs very close to yourself and also in the public spaces.
Absolutely,
You never
absolutely.
hesitated to wear your identity as a good Hindu.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, see, whether it was Sri, whether it is Sunita, whether it is me, whether it's Anil, my daughter Janvi, she walks up, I mean, she goes, once in 3 months, she goes to Tirupati and walks up the stairs. Like my wife, Sri used to walk, on every birthday of hers, she used to go to Tirupati and walk up. Whenever I was in some kind of trouble, she's walked from Juhu to Siddhivinayak barefoot. मैं जब इस घर में शिफ्ट हुआ, I shifted into this house about 6-8 months back. I had 11 pandits. And गाय का बछड़ा को पूरे घर में घुमाया था, so that
To get good vibes and
good
good
vibes
blessings.
from that, yeah. So this is only a sign of a believer in
In the religion, in the faith of what
yes,
he practices.
yes.
So much that, in fact, I've also seen some of your pictures going to Vaishno Devi, and in fact, I
Yes.
some believe that your marriage took place
In Shirdi.
in a shrine.
Shirdi.
Ji.
My marriage in Sri
Right.
on 2nd of June. Actually, that's the time we got married. We'd exchanged vows,
Ji.
and we were there. We spent the night there,
Ji.
and it was only in Jan when her pregnancy was seen that we had no choice but to marry publicly.
Correct. So that took place in Shirdi.
Shirdi on the 2nd of June, 96.
Right.
Because public, we were married only in Jan,
Right.
97 Jan.
Right.
And that is the reason there are still some scribes who write that she was born before marriage. Something.
Out of it.
इस पिक्चर में इतना ग्लैमर नहीं, अनिल इज प्लेइंग प्रेम प्रताप पटेल वाला,
ठीक है।
जहाँ पे मतलब देखो उन दिनों पिक्चर आ रही थी, कुमार गौरव की थी जहाँ पे उसका प्लेन में इंट्रोडक्शन था, ठीक है। संजय दत्त की आ रही थी जिसमें उसका बाइक पे इंट्रोडक्शन था, करेक्ट। सनी की आ रही थी घोड़े पे इंट्रोडक्शन था, अपना जैकी श्रॉफ की आ रही थी जहाँ पे वो फ्लूट बजा रहा है और वो उसमें भी बाइक्स थे, सब कुछ थे। तो मेरी पिक्चर थी, मैंने कहा यार मतलब एक छोटी सी पिक्चर थी मेरी, और अनिल का कैरेक्टर था प्रेम प्रताप पटेल, जो पटियाला से आया संगीतकार बनने के लिए, करेक्ट। इसका नाड़ा भी लटक रहा है, एक बेटी है और एक सकल, बिल्कुल। तो ग्लैमर ऐसा कुछ apparent था नहीं, बिल्कुल। We just banked on the characterization, correct. And Anil did superbly, and fortunately we had a good. Padmini was there, she was superb in the film. Master Raju was there, he was superb. Neenu Phule was there, he was superb in the film. Everything. In fact, एक scene किया जगदीप ने, that also was wonderful. तो ये सब चीजें सही पड़ी। गाने मैंने थोड़ा ग्लैमर देने की कोशिश की, जैसे ऊटी में जाके मैंने 3 गाने शूट किए थे। I couldn't go abroad, so I went to Ooty. Ooty was the most favorite location for all the songs to be picturized for Indian film, Hindi film, Tamil film, Telugu film, सब गाने करें तो ऊटी जाओ, glamorous location.
आपने माता से मांगा क्या है?
कि मुझे ये थिएटर्स,
और उन्होंने कितने थिएटर्स माने पूरे
सभी मिले।
क्या बात है।
देखो बॉम्बे में ओपेरा हाउस रॉक्सी बोला था, रॉक्सी मिला, दिल्ली में रीगल और मोती बोला था, लिबर्टी बोला था, तीनों मिले, कलकत्ता में रॉक्सी मिल गया मुझे।
सबसे ज्यादा कहाँ चली?
तो पिक्चर वाज सक्सेसफुल ऑल ओवर, ठीक है। मतलब इट रैन फॉर 15 वीक्स इन बॉम्बे। लखनऊ में मुझे चाहिए था मेफेयर, क्योंकि दैट वाज मोस्ट कॉम्पैक्ट थिएटर। और मैं और अनिल लखनऊ भी गए थे जब लगी थी पिक्चर प्रमोशन के लिए, और इलाहाबाद में हमने लगाई थी पिक्चर चंद्रलोक में, विच वाज उन दिनों में नया था। और तो हर सिटी का, जैसे
हमारे कैमरामैन प्रयागराज से ही है।
क्या बात है। तो हर जगह पे मैंने मार्क किया था, एंड आई वाज अ एविड फॉलोअर ऑफ which cinemas have what kind of patronage.
जी जी।
यहाँ तक कि मुझे हर थिएटर के रेंटल जाते हैं, मल्टीप्लेक्स होते नहीं थे,
बिल्कुल
सिंगल स्क्रीन होते थे। तो जैसे अनिल की पिक्चर ईश्वर भी लगी तो आई रिलीज इट सेलेक्टिवली।
समझ गया मैं।
जैसे बहुत सारे दिन बॉम्बे में लगी थी, मैंने सिर्फ 5 थिएटर में लगाई थी।
जी
मुझे पता था अगर इसको सैचुरेट रिलीज करो तो इतनी पब्लिक तो आएगी नहीं।
Correct.
5 थिएटर में लगे तो थिएटर भरे हुए होने चाहिए। कहीं ना कहीं ऊपर वाले ने सुन ली, अनिल की मेहनत काम आई,
बिल्कुल
और अनिल की और मेरी दोनों की शिद्दत काम आई,
जी जी
तो एवरीथिंग फेल इन प्लेस।
एब्सोल्युटली। ऑफ कोर्स आपने माता के दरबार में जाके मन्नतें मांगी। व्हाट prompted you to derive the idea from wherever you did to make this film and produce this film, Mr. India?
It was never my idea. The script was initiated by Salim, but somehow me and my team, thanks to my team, Javed Saab, Shekhar Kapoor, Satish Kaushik, and my brother, of course, Sri, of course. I mean, we worked as a very close-knit unit, and somehow, I had made our mind there will not be any post in the film. Everything will be shot in camera. So we had a complete R&D department who used to think of ways of shooting a particular special effect sequence, like the Hanuman scene,
Right,
the dining table carried out scene,
right,
the interval sequence where the gun comes out,
right,
the introduction of Mr. India where how he's walking and you can only see the footprints.
correct,
So all these were thought ingeniously, and they were all shot in camera.
right,
The cinematographer of the film was Baba Azmi, but the special effects cameraman was Peter Pereira,
right,
who was an assistant to Babubhai Misri, and he was quite used to shooting these films which required special effects.
right,
So most of the wires which were there to hang a gun or the idol of Hanumanji or various things which were used. So there used to be a wire which used to light it in such a way,
G,
was darkened it with black polish or black this thing, and then light it up in such a way that the wires were not seen.
right,
So this was his USP. Then we had Viru Devan, who was our action director. For this film, more than the action, he facilitated the special effects.
right,
The entire Hanuman sequence, the credit goes to Viru Devan,
right,
the execution part of it.
right,
And he encouraged us to have the sequence done elaborately. So it was a good teamwork which probably, came about in a way and made this film Mr. India.
to give me a perspective. I mean, of course, I would also want to touch upon some more serious issues and more pressing issues because of the fact that you have yourself have had an incredible career where you have made films from different genres, different subjects. There was one occasion when everybody thought that if you touch the 100 crore club, that is how the success metric was given to us from the Bollywood industry. But you had a fair bit of losses as well. How did you overcome those losses, especially if I may recall the incident going back to 1993 when one of your expensive films of that year, Room Ki Rani Choro Ko Raja, मैं सिर्फ ये आपसे आज जानना चाहता हूँ कि कितना हौसला अफजाई के लिए एक फिल्म डायरेक्टर को या फिल्म प्रोड्यूसर को या फिल्म मेकर को अपने लिए रखना चाहिए कि जब वो ये लॉस से गुजरता है और वापस अपने कदम सक्सेस की तरफ चूमने जाता है, वो दौर क्या था? मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि
पहली बात तो ये जो लाइफ के एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, the highs and lows, this is not just for a filmmaker.
जी
It can happen to any man in any industry.
जी
But what can keep him going is he should keep one thing in mind, that he's got to have intention of working hard and paying up what he owes the people.
जी
I mean, of course, when the losses incur, that means there is a part of debt which is on your head. Besides losing your own money, you've lost money which you borrowed.
करेक्ट
You must be absolutely transparent and honest.
राइट
And the hard work should continue. तो see, जैसे गाना आपने शुरू किया था,
जी
जिंदगी की यही रीत है, हार के बाद ही जीते.
जी
So I have been through the ups and downs a couple of times,
जी
and I've always come back being a little more stronger and a lot more
resilient.
and God has been kind. I've grown even faster.
जी
So all these 2, 3 downers that I had in my career,
जी
of course, I've had my family to support me.
जी
I had my wife to support me. Their moral support was incredible.
right
My wife was there. She walked to the temple barefoot, Siddhivinayak temple. My brother stood with me. And I've been fortunate that I've had some good friends too, who stood by me. And whoever I dealt with, they always knew that I'll bounce back.
जी
Somehow, perhaps it was either my personality or the way my approach was towards this thing. I have never looked cowed down or I never looked demoralized.
correct
I would always feel, and it was there in my system that this is something I'll get over. This is something I can get over.
many people still say that you never switch off your phone, you never change your phone number.
Yeah, I've never
the
done.
aspect that if someone has, you have to return the money or you have taken the money to produce a film, you will never do that. Is that true as well?
Absolutely. See, I have these two phones right from the beginning. In 94 and 95 में आया था ना मोबाइल फोन
जी सेम नंबर चल रहे हैं
सेम नंबर से और दूसरा नंबर मैंने इसलिए लिया था क्योंकि मैंने उन दिनों में कुछ 10-12 पिक्चर हैदराबाद में शूट की थी
जी
और रामोजी राव में बीपीएल का कुछ होता ना दैट टाइम यू हैड दिस नेटवर्क टाइप फॉर
operating certain states.
या सर्कल्स में
Right.
इधर का उनके होना चाहिए तो टाइप ऐसा नहीं था दैट्स टाइम आई टुक द सेकंड नंबर
Right.
सो दैट आई कुड हैव अ टाइम पहले मेरे पास बीपीएल था
Correct.
उन दिनों में बीपीएल और मैक्स टच थे
Right.
तो पहला मैंने नंबर जो लिया था बीपीएल का लिया था दूसरा मैंने मैक्स टच का लिया था
Right.
जो हैदराबाद के सर्कल्स के साथ उनका टाइप था
जी
So these numbers have been there from 95. Whenever, I mean, since the time mobile has come, there's a gap between the two lines, two phones, just about 6-8 months. And they've been there. In fact, I have a habit of picking up every phone. अगर मैं नहीं उठाऊं फोन तो मुझे बेचैनी होती है.
जी.
अगर किसी का फोन कॉल मिस भी हो जाए तो I will call back.
incredible.
आजकल काफी ऐसे फोन आते हैं जिस मतलब नंबर में I have not put on my caller ID also.
Right.
तो मैं रैंडमली कभी कभी जवाब देता हूँ जो अगर मेरे कांटेक्ट में नहीं है तब भी जवाब देता अगर मैंने मिस किया हो तो 99% मैं उठा लेता हूँ
जी
और मेरे आस पड़ोस के लोग बोलते भी बोली हाउ कैन यू आंसर ऑल फोन्स आई सेड आई फील गिल्टी इफ आई डोंट बिकॉज मे बी समबडी इज इन बैडली इन अ बैड सिचुएशन समबडी नीड्स मी बैडली देयर कुड बी समथिंग हैपनिंग
correct.
and if I can help it I would definitely so I don't want to just shut my phone or keep my phone on silent and not even if my phone is on silent, if I see a missed call, I will call back.
Right.
So, हमेशा respond to people, whether they are people whom I owe money,
Right.
whether they are people who I don't know. And this has been my hallmark, and that
Right.
is the reason people sometimes give examples of Boney Kapoor को जब देने भी थे तो मतलब फोन उठाता था और अगर मैंने किसी को टाइम दिया मैं आज दूंगा आपको मैं नहीं दे पाऊंगा
Right.
आई विल नॉट वेट फॉर हिम टू कॉल मी
Right.
मैं 2 दिन पहले मुझे पता चल जाता था कि भाई होने वाला है कि नहीं होने वाला है तो मैं खुद उसके घर जाता था या फोन करके बोलना मेरे को 15 दिन और दे दो
जी
मेरे को 20 दिन और दे दो
जी
एंड टुडे टू आई मीन टुडे आई हैव हैड 3 cycles of losses but at this point of time I mean leave Maidan out. Maidan of course is a new picture, there are borrowings but before Maidan, I mean besides Maidan there's not a single penny I owe anyone
right.
and the money that I owed was a big amount.
Of course, I know about that.
I liquidated some of my assets and
Yes.
paid off.
So I just want to ask you, what was that tough period? Because I want youngsters in this country to know and borrow that tip or
I don't
lesson from
consider
you.
any period as tough period. I consider this as a journey which is my destiny.
Right,
And I never, as I said, I never get cowed down or bowed down.
right,
I never get demoralized. I catch the bull by the horn. And I'm absolutely upright. So there is no tension or no this thing. I sleep peacefully every night. हाँ, आजकल मैदान के रिलीज के चक्कर में थोड़ा मेरी I am having sleepless night
losing
because
some sleep.
this is not in my control. You know, somehow I am in a situation which I can't explain right now. But
Yes.
for the first time in my life, I feel things are not in my control because see now it's the era of joint venture. I have partners, I have actors who also have, you know, stake in some revenue. So there are things which are not as simple as they used to be earlier.
Correct.
होता क्या है कि even what you decide to do or want to do, you can't do because there are so many other issues depending on the issue that you're tackling.
Absolutely.
And you cannot take any bold step because it is not just you who is going to be responsible.
Right.
You are leading a team who's dependent on you.
Right.
Like a person if a studio has invested money with me, that means I'm the custodian of that money.
Ji.
I cannot just take a risk. My first thing would be to see that he gets his money back.
Correct.
कोशिश ये भी रहेगी प्रॉफिट के साथ चाहिए, बट ये है कि भाई कम से कम जो उसने लगाया है, मेरे तरफ से पूरी कोशिश रहेगी कि he covers the cost, and if possible, fortunately for the last 4-5 years, it has been a good journey, and I'm quite sure even Maidan finally, when it releases, people will realize the kind of effort that the team has put in. My director, my entire crew, Ajay Devgan, actor, everybody there have been my partners.
Correct.
In the studio, everybody, they have been incredibly motivated doing this film. And I think I showed the trailer to you.
Absolutely.
I think we have a very...
I found the thriller very enterprising in multiple ways because nobody so far has put so much of energy, heart and soul into bringing football as a prominent theme of a movie. And for me, it will be a privilege. I mean, when this movie will be released, as a journalist who has followed this sport so religiously, for us, it will be a privilege to see this.
Well, it won't just be a privilege, it will be a pleasure, because you see, what we've captured is the golden era of Indian football, 1952 to 62. This is a close biopic of the football coach.
Right.
Who was selfless, whose only drive, ambition, and desire was to get a gold to India. It's a very aspirational film, inspirational film, and nationalistic film.
Right.
How India finally, he builds a team and and today 90%, 99% of the people don't know what India achieved in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So, in 56, India reached the semifinals and lost to France in semifinals, which means we were number 4 in the world.
Right.
And the Jakarta, so people not even aware.
Right.
I think in Olympics or Melbourne Olympics, we lost to France by self-goal.
Right.
So ये सब चीजें हैं, plus how the coach tried to evolve the complete team, how he infused that kind of energy, talent, and the kind of intensity to achieve what is meant to be achieved.
And so we've been told that you almost took 16 acres of land, the chunk of land, to turn it into a turf
Stadium, yes, stadium, not
stadium, to show the football being played there, and also a team from foreign which came well in advance during COVID as well, which worked very closely with you on how certain scenes were to be shot. Is that true?
Yeah, we had a lot of, we went through a lot. The 16-acre land that you're talking of, 70% of the film was completed 2019 December. We've left with 8 matches which are part of the film.
Right. They shot somewhere else.
They were in this 16-acre land that we had rented.
Right.
So we made a complete football ground with natural turf.
Right.
It didn't have artificial turf. It had a natural turf because those days in the 50s and 60s, there was no artificial turf.
Right.
And at the same time, we had to make couple of stands also. We put green in because the matches were held in different cities.
Right.
We have a match from Helsinki, we have a match from Melbourne, we have a match from Rome, we have a match from Jakarta. All these matches had different kind of look.
Gee.
So we managed to create that, some live, some in post. We've shot the film in Calcutta, we've shot the film in Kolkata, we've shot the film in Lucknow, we've shot the film in Bangkok because, since we had just shot these stadium shots after COVID,
right.
There were not many foreigners here in Bombay.
Right.
And we needed foreigners from all the countries. For instance, we had matches being played, India playing France, India playing Australia, India playing Japan, India playing South Korea. So we needed a mix of all the crowd. So we traveled to Bangkok to get those shots of only the crowd.
Right.
And the exterior of the stadiums
Right.
was also shot overseas. And we had foreign crew, foreign technicians. At any given time, when we shot the matches in Bombay, in the ground that we had created, that set was there for almost 3.5 years.
Ji.
And that's what had escalated the budget also of the film. I mean, we have not overshot the film,
Right.
but the fact that the set was standing and we had to pay rent for the ground,
Right.
we had to pay the remuneration for the curators, we had to pay, the security people,
During the full time.
and
They were stayed.
to maintain the ground.
Correct.
And then, we were badly affected by the cyclone. The entire set was washed out. We had to rebuild the set all over again.
Right.
So all these calamities and this pandemic, this created a major hurdle for
Well,
us.
of course, unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, but you see, unfortunately, insurance is not there for. I mean, we've tried to
Right.
trying to see what can be,
Right.
but as of now, we've got nothing. There are some hope that we may get. They've offered us a measly amount of what I've spent. A measly amount.
Ji. Mr. Kapoor, I'm going to ask.
Imagine, shooting with 8 to 10 cameras when we shot the matches, and we had a crew of almost 500 to 600 people every day. And in COVID times, the protocol was whole group will not sit and eat together. The whole group will not assemble together.
Right.
So I had to order, even during the lunch break or the tiffin break, food used to come in packets so that everybody, and we had Taj catering the food.
Right.
Only because we thought they were clean, they were hygienic. And since they are accustomed to making those trays for airlines from the Taj flight kitchen, we had ordered food. Everybody was given mineral water, not the. And then we had 2 or 3 ambulances on the set, 2 or 3 doctors on the set because of such a big crew on the set.
Right.
So all these are not expenses which were budgeted.
Right.
Plus the rental of 3.5 years we had budgeted for 6-8 months.
But you had also picked up COVID at that time?
No, I didn't. But certain crew members did.
Nobody in the was safe from COVID.
Yeah, no.
Arjun did.
Arjun got it, Anshula got it, all my fortune got it.
Right.
Even some of my staff members got it, but I didn't. Because I'm the fittest of the whole lot. And at the same time, you see, my director got COVID. The director and the crew members got COVID.
Right.
There were some international players who, on reaching, players from Thailand, they reached there and they discovered they had COVID. So I had to pay for the expenses there.
Right.
So I have gone through all this
Correct.
unfortunate delays and unfortunate expenses, uncalled for expenses, unbudgeted expenses.
Right.
And that is how the cost has escalated. So I'm just hoping I can put things together to release the film smoothly.